Happy Beltane. This is a very special Beltane under a full flower moon, and then at the end of the month, we have a blue moon. You want to come up here? What is it, baby? Callisti calls. This is really only for my friends, although Facebook says that I have like 645 followers, whatever that means. I only ever interact with maybe less than a dozen. So this is for the 12. Kind of a message in a bottle. Hey, baby. Baby. Thank you for all the support that I have received. You know who you are. I mean, as far as just being a friend and being someone I can talk to, even if it's just text. I really miss hearing people's voices, and nobody wants to go on Zoom call like this anymore. I've had better Beltanes, but the sun is shining so bright outside, and up and down the street the irises are blossoming. Hope Oligarchy Creek gets a little more water, as a lot of wildlife depends on that. I am not ignoring you. I am incorporating you. No. Oh, I don't know what that is. I had put on like public domain music, just Debussy in the background, and now it's betraying me. Go away. Stop. I do have some things to say, if you'll bear with me, because I didn't write everything down. I want to talk about my court case. I realize that it's easier you're eating my microphone, to read from a teleprompter or from something that's already written down, but I think that improvisation or to just speak extempore from my mother wit lends a kind of authenticity and honesty to what I'm saying. Sorry, the cat hair on the nose. All right, I'm good. The beard. It feels like there is an animal on my face. And hello. Yes, because razor blades are like $5 each now. That's just, they have priced me out of clean shaven entirely, but it still feels like there is something on my face that I can't get off. My brain tells me there's cat fur all over my face, and it takes a real breathing effort. You're not going to bite through that to not just tear it off my face. I know that a lot of my male friends have grown beards now. It just was never me. I had one in my 20s, and it came in all just black and curly, short and black and curly, but with not much of a mustache. So what I ended up looking like was like Abraham Lincoln or an Amish farmer, which may be why I didn't do very well when I auditioned for Jeopardy or Password. The case. What is it coming down to now? May 11th. I have to go in again. Let me take you back. Let's wind back the clock. The last time I was there, this new judge, who I like, said, I want you to speak to that lawyer again, the one that I got a free phone call for, with the legal aid, and ask him to clarify what these two offers are that have been made by the prosecutor. The first offer is to accept diversion, which is the way the lawyer explained it, because I'm paraphrasing here, it sounds like AA, like a 12-step program or something, where the first step is to admit that you have a problem and face it. Then you accept responsibility for any damage you've caused, for any harm you've caused, and then you are remorseful or contrite and show repentance. And the second you say, but I didn't do anything, they're going to kick you out of the program. So number one is not going to work. Number two is I love you so much. I love you so much. Plead guilty with like 9 months probation, and then if I'm good in that whole time, then it just disappears from my record. He says this is the one you want to do. People plead guilty to stuff they didn't do all the time. This is how the game is played. It is a negotiation. It is the art of the deal. And there was 5 charges originally, and so they're just dropping it down to that one, which is great. But here's the weird thing. Maybe it's not so weird. I want the judge to know what happened. And it just, in the back of my mind, for some reason, I had it all scrambled. I thought, well, everybody on that side must know what happened. And then I realized, no, the judge doesn't know what happened. All the judge knows, all the judge sees are the charges on the paper in front of her. The prosecution knows, or I'm hoping she knows. I'm hoping she looked at, no, excuse me, hoping she looked at the evidence. I have. So I'm hoping for the Disney ending and preparing for the Shakespeare ending. I guess this is kind of a dress rehearsal because in my mind I just obsessively go over and over and over what I want to say in court, what I want to say to the judge, what I think I should say. And I think of things, I think up stuff and then wad up the paper and throw it away because that's too dramatic. That sounds whiny. This is self-serving. That makes me sound like I'm a victim. Um, no Shakespeare. This shirt is about all that's left in my fair outfit because I had to sell my boots and my doublet, and I threw my braces in there too, and he gave me a nice price for those, my chainmail and leather bracers. It was all just sitting in the closet and couldn't even close the doublet in front anymore. The boots were starting to not fit. And the guy who somehow miraculously contacted me through my ad, through Craigslist, I guess, he's cool. He does sword fighting, Florentine specifically, at demonstrations at medieval fairs, Renaissance fairs and stuff, and they go around and do that. And I'm telling him about the boots. I'm showing him, having him put on a boot while I put on a boot, and I'm lacing him up, because if you know these Bald Mountain moccasins, you know it's kind of an interesting sort of lacing that you have to do all the way up the side. So I'm teaching him how to do that, and I see he's got biker boots like I used to have, the ring with the little 3 straps. But before that, I said, these boots, there's like $700+ custom made. They are this redwood and dark brown buffalo. It's the redwood, I think, is elk. Sorry, vegetarians. The buttons on them were all antler crowns. And I said, these, back in the day, having a pair of these Bald Mountain boots was like owning a Harley. It was really prestige, and everybody wanted them. I saw he's lacing up his boots, and I saw he had taken off those biker boots, and I said, do you ride? He said, yeah. I said, what's your bike? He says, a Harley. So I feel like even if I can't perform, and it's just stupidly sentimental, but even if my costume, even if I can't perform it, at least it's out there now, in show business again, carrying on. Better than just sitting in my closet, right? And the money that came in, he gave me a fair price for them. Not certainly what I paid, but decent, and it helped a lot. Okay, back to the court. The previous judge I had, who displayed her pronouns in front of her name, didn't seem to care much for me. It seems to me that my request for a public defender struck her as an act of defiance, and that for me to turn down the generous offer of the prosecution was a kind of ingratitude. And I have both of these offers if I plead guilty, but no offer of help if I want to plead not guilty, which seems kind of prejudiced. And of course, goes without saying that I still don't have an attorney. If I go to trial, I will have to represent myself uh, against against a prosecutor with 7 years of law school. So all I can, fuck, excuse me. I love my cats. I do. I would not live without them. Hey, you come here. Come here. Which is what made that prison cell so hard. They put me in there for 3 days, and nobody asked about my claustrophobia and my cries for help were ignored. And thank God I had a nice cellmate to talk to. I really owe him a lot for helping keeping me grounded. I know now, looking back, that uh, he must have thought that he must have obviously seen that I was ready to lose it. I'm trying to see if I'm still broadcasting here or what's going on. No, I am still broadcasting, or whatever. Recording? Thank you. Is the tape running? You never go to see a film anymore, do you? Because it's not on film, is it? Thank you for your patience. I really do have a lot to say here. I'm just trying to collect it all. I want to be able to speak coherently in court if I have to defend myself. Of all the people I have encountered in this whole shenanigans, this new judge, is the only one who has treated me with any dignity or as a human being. She has gone out of her way to try to get me a public defender. I've been going there, this is like once a month for 7 months since October. The last time, she actually made the public defender's office show her an itemized list of exactly why I didn't qualify for a public defender. I'm wondering if I should have thrown in all those medical bills that will never be paid. There's like $4,000 worth of those. Because I have no Medicare and no dental. I haven't had a teeth cleaning or exam in a couple of years. When something dental comes up, there is no recourse for me. There is nothing I'll be able to do. If something medical comes up, I have to go to the emergency room. The last time I did that, they threatened to call the police because I was threatening suicide if they didn't do something to stop the pain. It was because of this something going wrong in my teeth. So they gave me some kind of painkiller. They gave me the prescription for the painkiller, and I go up to get it filled, and it's like they want like $30 for it. I don't have any money. That was the whole problem. So I have to go back to the emergency room again and say, please just give me something for the pain. Hi, baby. And they did. They like took up a collection and gave me and paid so I could go and pick up this prescription rather than admit me again. Yeah, the medical, this is no way to run medicine, not for profit. You can't run a prison system for profit. I never meant to be political. When I was young, I thought that I'm just an artist. I'm above politics. And then I saw what politics did to the artists who didn't care, how they get rounded up. So now I guess I am political. And my politics, it's so weird. From the 60s, I consider myself a liberal, not a left wing, but very liberal. Pro-choice, pro-women's rights, gay rights, black rights, everybody's rights, witches' rights. And I haven't moved. I mean, I'm still the same person I was back then when people consider me a liberal, and now I'm considered right-wing, or even, right-wing fascist. I don't support Trump. I will get back to court. I just need to say this. This last election is the only election that I abstained from, and I cherished the right to vote, especially for president. I may not vote for local crap, but I have always voted for president, and except for the one time I voted independent for Anderson, I have voted Democrat. And then I don't know what happened to the Democratic Party specifically, but some poison got into it that just made it absolutely unsupportable. And now I'm a registered Republican. As much as I loathe Trump, he is what I think of as a useful monster. He is accomplishing things that need to be accomplished, and maybe we needed a monster at this point. We will have, I predict, 8 years of Vance after this. The Democrats are done. I do not think they will ever come back from this. Instead of thinking of what they did to lose the last election, they have... excuse me. No. That's you, Callisti. No. No. They have doubled down on every issue that lost them this one. And even if it weren't so many, even if there weren't so many issues, the one issue that has made me abandon them above all, that would make me abandon them if for no other reason, was what they've been doing to children. That they think it's okay to sexually mutilate children, to tell them they're in the wrong body, to try to indoctrinate them into this crap from kindergarten, this gender lie. So much so to the point that if a couple is breaking up and they're trying to get, they both want custody, the California courts will give it to the mother usually, who wants to castrate her son. What can a father do? This is insanity. This is worse than insanity. It's evil. There are doctors who have been making thousands of dollars on doing this to children, funneled through a pipeline by these psychiatrists who sign off on testosterone after less than a 30-minute interview. The trials for this are going to look like Nuremberg. And the doctors who have done this to children should be in prison the rest of their lives. The parents who have done this to their children, at first I want to say, sterilize them. But these were parents who believed the authority figures and the doctors who told them that if they didn't do this, their child would commit suicide. That's emotional blackmail and also a lie. The suicide rate after sexual reassignment surgery skyrockets, as well as all the comorbidities that they had before make them even worse. Cutting pieces of yourself off isn't the answer. The idea is not to let people who are insane hurt themselves. Excuse me, I'm going to close the door. I'm really thirsty now. Court. I don't want to lie to this judge. This is very strange. I looked this up. It's let's see if I can even find it. I wanted to verify what this lawyer told me, that people plead guilty to things they didn't do all the time, because it's not that I didn't trust him. He seems like a straight shooter, and he's been honest with me and patient, but I need to be sure about this. Where was it? Okay. Defendants. This is from the Vera Institute of Justice, and it's online, so it must be true. Defendants may accept a plea deal to secure immediate release, minimize legal costs, or end the pressure of pre-trial restrictions, even if they are not actually guilty. And I want to cite that before the judge, just so she knows. I mean, I haven't been asking for a public defender for 7 months to plead guilty. And here we're talking about this, it seems like, how do I say it? It's like we're talking about this third person. If I'm guilty, this, and if I'm innocent, that. But I've been saying I'm innocent all this time, so if I say I'm guilty now, that means I've been lying all that time for 7 months. But now I expect you to believe that I'm telling the truth when I say that I'm guilty, even though I've already told you that I'm not. But the words out of my mouth have to be I'm guilty or I plead guilty, even though everyone in the room knows that I just said I'm not. This this legal system is bizarre to me. Um, so I guess it's going to be up to the. I don't know how much of this is going to be up to the judge, whether I can just do this plea deal if I can, because I have to think of Melinda and Paul and the cats and the dogs and what would happen if something happens to me. And I don't really believe it would, but I don't know. I mean, I think I could end up being in jail for a year, and that would be, you'd never see me again. Those 3 days, it was like being burned alive and not being able to die. Put an empath in a cell like that, all that concrete and steel just absorbed all the terror, the despair, the guilt, the rage, and the insanity of everyone who had been kept in that cage. And it washed through me like a blood tide. It destroyed me. Fortunately, I always keep my feathers numbered for just such an emergency. Apparently, my soul is made of such stuff. And maybe this comes with practice in the void, that I am able to reconstitute from nothing. And that flexibility is a great survival technique for people who have lived through torture and things that are beyond human comprehension because they would be lethal if they were comprehended. It is a mercy that we forget being burned alive, buried alive, drowning. How many different ways are there to die, Odin? The gallows. I don't know how many times I have stood in this place where I am now defending myself before a judge, and I've heard the same thing over and over. You needn't die in the arena. Renounce this Christ. Make sacrifice to the gods. The emperor will spare your life. And then again later, sign the confession with your good hand, and you will not be burned at the stake, but merely strangled, and your soul will ascend to heaven, for you will be saved, because the Holy Inquisition will show mercy. Or again, rise to your knees, kiss the king's symbol, and you will feel no more I guess the blessing in all this is that I have so carefully examined my conscience in a way that I have not for a very long time. But I do not find myself wanting. I will embrace just a little bit that sin of pride. And now I stand between Scylla and Charybdis. What is the right thing to do? Because if I don't stand trial for this, then the officer who did this to me, who arrested me, will continue to do it. Now, this whole thing has not put me off law enforcement. My stepfather was a sheriff's reserve officer. God, I'm the only person in my family, maybe except Grandpa Bill, who hasn't worn a uniform. My father was a Green Beret. Great-grandpa Ira was a Canadian Mountie. So yeah, I thought about going into law enforcement, but I could never enforce fair laws. It's like Stepfather is always telling me to be a corporate lawyer because of the money. And then I looked into being a lawyer, and it seems that, as supposedly dedicated to the truth as a lawyer should be, a defense lawyer is required to defend someone he knows is guilty. A prosecutor is required to prosecute someone even if they know they're innocent. I'm trying to pick up my train of thought. Um, I am loath to portray myself as a victim. I see that everywhere now. I am master of my destiny and captain of my soul, and I'm only where I am now because I put myself here, and no one is responsible for this but me. I don't know. I don't want to recount the whole series of events of what happened to me. Let me just say, arresting officer Zachary Hartman never used excessive force. He did nothing that wasn't by the book, but I question his judgment in choosing to arrest me. Now, no police officer, any law enforcement should be held in any way responsible if someone he arrests is found not guilty. This would paralyze law enforcement. It would make law enforcement's job impossible. It would make police too cautious. But that being said, if a recognizable pattern arises where we see one officer, like for example, getting a bunch of DUIs for people who toxicology shows were actually completely sober, if that pattern arises, then someone in a position of authority needs to do something about it. So I have no antagonism towards Officer Hartman, but I contradict his decision to arrest me. The police officer who put me in the back of the car said that I had been cordial. I remember going back in the house to get my ID. After the whole thing, let me sum up. Okay, it's too much. I sum up. Thursday, I go out to Bella, the Chihuahua, is out in the street again, standing in the street. This is right there at the corner of Dogwood, just like 4 houses down. So I go over to try and get her to, get out of the middle of the street, because I've seen a dog hit right in the middle of that street. I've asked the people there to be careful because with their cats and their dogs, because of the danger. People, we're only 1 street over from Main Street, and people use this as if there's something blocking Main Street, they'll come speeding through there as if they're angry that they had to take a detour. And the speed limit's only 25. So we're trying to get the dog back in, almost get her in, then open the door to their house. A white Chihuahua runs out. Now they're both running out into the street, and then there's this pit bull being walked across the street. The woman sees the 2 dogs, doubles up the leash around her the leash around her wrist, and the pit bull is like, the dogs, these 2 insane Chihuahuas are barking at the pit bull. You have to understand Chihuahua psychology. I have 3 of them here. It's that little man syndrome. They think they can take on the world. So I run between the Chihuahuas and the pit bull. Probably not the best tactic for me. But this works to get the Chihuahuas moving back toward the house. They run into the house. This old man steps out, and he throws something. I didn't see what it was. He throws something at them, and I hear this yelp. Now, I have 3 Chihuahuas, so I know all the sounds they make. I know the difference between the mailman, UPS, somebody's home, a leaf fell. I mean, they're just constantly loud, but there are differences in the way they bark. But this was a bark of fear and pain, and that set me off. I told him, don't you hurt that animal. If you want to hurt someone, do it to me. And then I'm in the driveway next door, he's in the driveway over here, and it must have looked very comical. Two guys just yelling at each other. You come over here. I called him a bitch. I said, come over here, bitch. You want to do that? Do it to me, bitch. And that's on videotape. That's my least proud moment, I guess. Here's the thing. The arresting police officer who viewed the tape of me, from the camera, of me saying, come over here, bitch, told his fellow officers that what I had said was, I'm going to kick your ass. A little bit of a difference there. One's an invitation, another one's a threat. I am sorry that I lost my temper to him, but I had just been trying to save those animals, and then he hurt one of them, and I'm still in protect them mode. So I guess I wanted his attention on me, and I didn't want him to hurt the animals. And that I'm getting this so mixed up. Jesus Christ. But it's all about animals. It's all about the cat. The next day, anyway, I've screwed it all up. I should do this all over, but no, I'm not gonna. Okay, it started with the Chihuahuas, yeah. I had called animal control. Well, let me backtrack. Please forgive me for being such a mess. As I'm arguing with the old man, this gray and white cat, who I've seen before, comes up and nuzzles on my leg. And I think I said, what did I say? Whose cat is this? I picked it up. And, oh no, I said, well, fine, then I'll take the cat. And he said, go ahead, take her. He gave me permission. There it is, recorded on video. I'm sure I'll show that in court. So I took the cat. This was all over that cat. I take the cat home. I took her home, gave her some tuna, a little water. She made herself comfortable right next to my pillow. She's really sweet. And I called animal control. This was Thursday, yeah. I called animal control. I said, I've had this dispute with the people down the street. I've had problems with them before, with them letting their dogs just run into the street. I'm afraid ones get hit. I explained what happened with the cat. I have the cat now. I would like you to either, I don't know, talk to them, take the cat, and get it adopted to a safe home. Please come out. They said they would send somebody out. This was Thursday. Nobody ever came out. But the call exists. It's recorded that I did call for them. They just decided not to send anybody out because when they called back to make sure, nobody answered. So they didn't send anybody out. So Friday morning, October 3rd, I'm just waking up, and the kitty, I hadn't even named her yet. I pick her up, I'm holding her, and she's lactating. It's like, obviously she's got kitten somewhere. She needs to be reunited with this kitten. And then there's a hammering on the door, like bam, bam, bam. I'm like, wow, okay, that's not a food delivery. I put her down, I go out there, the dogs are going berserk, the Chihuahuas and Charlie, to have someone, they're not used to someone hammering on the door like that, so they're losing their minds. So I've got this window I can open without opening the door to see who's there, which I really like. And I open it and I'm, hi, and there's 3 people, 2 women and a man. And I have got to get something to drink. Please hold for just a moment. I will be back in seconds. Okay. If you're still with me at this point, you really are a friend. I really should have written it down, I guess, and just read it. But I'm just going to have to improv it and wing it in court and depend and just hope that the truth will be stronger than 7 years of legal school. This is what's left to drink. I usually start out the morning with a Coke because I don't drink coffee. I try not to drink more than 2 Cokes a day, but it's just down to this now. Money, that's a whole different thing. Okay, yeah, so back to the fracas. Um, I see the three people. I see one's got a kitten. I'm like, oh, okay. It looks just like the mom. I'm like, okay, now it all comes together. I get it. Okay, so the dogs are, I can't even hear what they're saying. And when that happens, I'm like, please let me just come out there and close the door behind me because the dogs are going berserk. I can't get them to shut up unless I put them all downstairs. So I come out, hi, hi, and I just sit down on the porch, and like immediately the man and the woman in the magenta hoodie just start going off on me. Their aggression is like, wow. And like, if I'd known they were going to be like that, I would not have just sat down. So uh, when I saw how weird they were being, I don't even remember specifically what it was they said because they're both talking at once. They're both shouting. Um, I stood up. I'm on the top step. There's only 2 steps to my front porch. I'm on the top step, and they're below that. Um, the woman holding the kitten backs away. Okay, and then it's just these two, and they're demanding the cat back, and I'm like, okay, she's fine. She ate. She needs to be reunited with the kitten so the kitten can nurse. And at that point, I'm right at the corner of my house, and this guy wearing a baseball cap is getting closer and closer. I've seen people do this in like protests. He's getting closer and closer to me till he's just like inches from my face, and then our eyes are locked at this point. She's off like here, blah, 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 like that, but I'm focused on him, and he looks me right in the eye, inches from my face, and says, "I'll fucking kill you." And I actually don't remember what happened at that point. And that's not pleading insanity. Um, I don't know what happened. Maybe it was just a bolt of adrenaline that shot through me because I couldn't. My back was against the corner of the house, the corner of the garage right there. So I couldn't just back up to get away from him. And he says, "I'll kill you." And that's the last thing I remember. The next thing I remember, I somehow have gotten from there around the truck to the lower part of the driveway, almost to the sidewalk. My yard is just mostly dirt, and I've tumbled over. My glasses are on the ground. I grab my glasses, get back up, and get ready to defend myself. And Paul comes out with his phone and a T-shirt and his boxers, looking very disoriented because he lives downstairs and he probably just heard the noise. And I said, "Paul, call the police. I've been assaulted." Well, at that point, they all left. And then the police did come. And I have the body cam footage, which was given to me as part of discovery of all of their conversations. It was interesting that at some points when they were talking, they would turn their body cams off. I don't know if that's legal, but it seems a little interesting. And then I think I've heard this police, I think I have it on tape here, the arresting officer, Zachary Hartman, saying twice that I said, I, I'll kick your ass. I'm going to kick your ass. So I will present that in court if I can. I want to call 7 witnesses. I don't even know how to call a witness, but I want to call Zachary Hartman, the arresting officer. I want to question him on the stand. My 3 attackers, I have their names here somewhere. Although to be fair, that one woman did not attack me. It was just just the 2. And my 2 next door neighbors who bore false witness against me. Oh, did they lie? And I've got them on tape doing it. In fact, I can prove they lie because they're saying, "Oh yeah, we saw the whole thing. Mom saw it from the bottom of her garden, and I saw it from the window." Well, what I'm going to do is take video of the line of sight showing where the fight took place and where that window is and where the bottom of their garden is and how there's no way they could have seen me. So I would love to get them on the stand and have them give that testimony under oath. I have I want this to be over because it's taken up so much space in my mind. I try to go to sleep and I'm thinking, what will I say? What would I say to the judge? Now, here's an important point. I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe that I have a choice that if I do go to trial, I get to choose between trial by jury or trial by judge. I guess they're not doing trial by combat anymore. That'd be interesting. But so if I do have a choice, I mean, that's what it really comes down to for me. If I can be judged by this judge, Honorable Judge Elizabeth Brodsky, I'm not afraid of that judgment because in my reckoning, just in the 2 times that I've talked to her, she seems like a righteous woman who can be impartial and will weigh the evidence, and I believe she will find in my favor. Now, one of the alternate things I could do would be to take the plead guilty, which seems an awful lot like lying in court, perjury. Plead guilty and take the probation. And what I would do, in fact, I've already written most of it, is to write a letter, email even, to this judge detailing exactly what really did happen. All the details. Why I disagree with the arrest, why I believe it was a false arrest, and the details of my 3 days of imprisonment for this. And I still wake up in that jail cell. That's why I sleep with the light on now. And I've always slept with a fan on me so that I can feel like it's fresh air. This shouldn't happen to anybody else. I think of myself as being brave. Even if I had to face death, I think I could be brave. But to be caged like an animal, I didn't even feel the sun on my face for 3 days. That shouldn't happen to anyone who is innocent. So I hope that in writing this letter and telling her what happened, telling her everything, that she will be in a position of authority as a sitting jurist to maybe make some changes. Kind of running out of steam right now. I don't know how long this has been. It's probably one of my longest. Go watch my Shakespeare stuff. It's better. The dogs need so much care now. And there has been talk of, I don't know whether this is something Paul imagined or whether Christine actually said anything, but there has been talk of Christine taking Charlie so she could get the eye operation she needs and hopefully her dental. But I wouldn't want to split up Charlie from Rihanna because, I mean, they're inseparable. Can you see them now? I think you can. They're never apart. They even match. They're the same color. So I would want her to take Rihanna. They were her dogs to begin with. I'm not really a dog person. I only have them now because her solution when the divorce came around was, well, she was just going to dump them at the pound. And I love Charlie, and I love Rihanna. We have her daughter, of course, Little, and Anubis, her dad, and they would stay here. But it's going to cost $500 minimum for each of their dentals. That's the cheapest we could find anywhere. Plus like $35 in extraction, antibiotics, painkillers to come home with. And they need this now. They needed it like last year. I can see that Rihanna has had teeth fall out of her mouth. They've just rotted out. And her breath is horrible. I can't imagine what it would be to live like that. So, yeah, I really loathe people who play the victim card, no matter which card it is. But I will say that I was wronged, and I would like to see that wrong righted. I do want justice. I was rather amazed to see the people who attacked me were not arrested, that I know. I would like to, if it comes down to a not guilty verdict in court in a trial, I would certainly like Officer Hartman to hear of it at least. And I want the judge to know about the circumstances. I don't want revenge. What I want is justice. I want so it doesn't happen to anyone else again, ever. This legal system we have is screwed up and terrible and awful, but it's still, I believe, the best legal system in the world. As long as men are animals, we will need laws. Anyway, things have gotten bad here in a real financial way, and this is I guess I shouldn't be embarrassed by it because I don't have any control over the situation. Melinda's doing okay. She's getting just enough work to get by, but her future is only as bright as the next offering of teaching, and she's looking for other things. She sees the situation that we're in, and she's being remarkably calm about the whole thing. But it's a triumvirate here between me and Paul and her, and my income is steady. It's just Social Security and rent from both of them. But Paul has been out of work for a while now. I don't know what he's doing about the child support, the back child support that he owes on Emily, but he's still involved in her life. So I keep trying to brush the mustache off. Don't touch the mustache. Uh, he can't, he let me know he can't pay rent. And he's offered to move out and live in his car. And that's not going to happen. Because he's my friend. So if we sink together. Nobody's getting tossed out of the house. We are 2 months behind on the mortgage, and if it becomes a third month, then they start foreclosure. If they begin foreclosure, Paul and Melinda have at least 90 days to not have to pay any rent, and they will be able to use that time, hopefully, to get first and last month's rent and a deposit for a new apartment. But what apartment is going to take them with animals? And I know Melinda would want to take my 4 cats, but I don't know how she possibly could with the ones that she has. And I don't think Paul could, nor would I really be happy with him having that responsibility. So, listen to the tone of my voice, Jesus. So, I mean, the best thing for them would to be adopted through Boulder Humane, where we've always gone, where I worked in the past with the former director, Maggie Schaefer, and we adopted so many out through them. Cats we'd had from kittens, cats we'd had for years. It tore my heart open to have to do that. But we can't just hold on to cats. We want to. We always had to adopt out the cute ones because they were more likely to be adopted. Kittens are more likely to be adopted. We kept the seniors and the ones who had a weird ear or were shy or just didn't want to be held because they didn't deserve to die because they were shy. I've been looking at the words of famous lawyers and jurists: Oliver Wendell Holmes, Lincoln, Clarence Darrow, even Atticus Finch. Sorry, this is stupid. This is not. It is the sort of gain giving that would perhaps trouble a woman. I, if I have to be sworn in a trial, then I'm going to ask that instead of swearing in on a Bible, that I be allowed to swear on the charge of the goddess. So I'm going to take a copy of that in case, or on my honor. I guess that's it. I guess I will sign off for now. This is Ripley, last survivor of the Nostromo, signing off.